Ready to take your stream audio to the next level? In this video, I'll break down exactly how I set up VoiceMeeter Potato and use it with OBS to get crystal clear audio. I'll walk you through how I do the routing for my SM7B microphone. I'll tackle system audio sources. I'll build a fresh OBS scene to show you how everything that we set up works together, how to use sidechain ducking so your gain volume stays balanced when you talk. Whether you're new to VoiceMeeter or just need a cleaner setup, this guide will help you ditch the confusion and get pro-level audio sound. As you can see here, I already have my VoiceMeeter Potato set up. It's a really simple setup. I know this may look very complex, but this is a super simple setup. So essentially, what you have here is A1, A2, A3, A4, and A5. All of these right here essentially are hardware inputs, and that's the way that we should think of it. Now, we have the output sends, which is going to be A, and then we have the software output, which is going to be your B's, right? And then your virtual inputs are all software inputs. So as you see, I have B2 selected on my mic, and it runs over here to this B2. I have B1 set for a virtual cable, and that will be sent to B1 as an output here in my bus line. When you go and you set this up, one of the first things you have to do is set up your microphone. We're going to put this in strip 1. As you can see, I already named it SM7B. You can go down here to WDM Wasapi. I picked this right here. You can see my Focusrite for my USB audio. It's already coming up. You can just select that. Now, one of the things that you can do right off the bat when you set up your microphone is go ahead and place it to B2. Now you see I do not have A1 selected on this because I monitor through my interface. But if you want, you can turn that on, hear your voice. Make sure everything sounds good within a certain level, and we can tweak some things outside of that line. Now, one of the things that you can do is you can go up here and you can right-click your EQ. You can set up a good EQ base to make sure your voice sounds the way that you want it to sound. So after you get your hardware input set up the way that you want, which right now the only thing that I have, I'm running 2 hardware inputs. And one of them is going to be an actual hardware input, which is my microphone, and then my virtual cable. And we'll explain that later. The next thing you need to do is come over here to A1 and click that and pick your output, whatever you want your output to be. So whether that is your gaming headset, your monitor line coming off of your interface, which is what I have done, pick that. Then after you do that, you can set up certain things here within your virtual inputs. Now, this is where things start getting kind of fun. As you see here, I have a media player up and I have OBS Studio up, which is what I'm using to record this on. Well, let's say I was to bring up something like Spotify. Let me go to copyright free music real quick just so I can. And you can see this pops up, goes right here on VoiceMeeter input. It's being monitored on A1. If I turn that off, I can't hear it. And it's being sent out on B1, which is this strip here. Essentially, this is what I like to use for all of my system audio, whether it be something I'm listening to out of a browser, music I'm listening to, playback for video, game audio, all that comes through this VoiceMeeter input in my virtual inputs. It all comes in and it is monitored on A1 and it is sent out on B2. Now, all of your A's, as I said earlier, all of those are going to be your hardware outs. All of these are going to be your hardware outs. As you can see, I'm monitoring nothing through this because I'm using my interface, except for my virtual inputs, because if I don't have that on, I can't hear it. So anything that's going on, games, movies, videos, stream, Discord, whatever it may be, is going to come through this. Then you have your hardware outs, which are all of these A1 through 5, which are these, all these A options. And then you have all of your software outs, which is going to be your B1, B2, B3, which we have here on each one of these strips. Right, so each one of these is an individual strip. So you have hardware 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you have your software inputs, which is going to be VoiceMeeter input, VoiceMeeter aux1, and VoiceMeeter VAIO3, which VAIO is just video audio in out. So that makes it really easy to understand. So these are the outputs. Essentially, this is like physical hardware outputs, and this is software outputs. When I click this, essentially what it's doing is audio is coming in from my interface. It's going down here. It's being picked up in this. This is selected to send it all the way over here as an output. So anything that I select as a B2, which I'll show you that in a minute, anything that I select as a B2 is going to pick up on this particular strip. Now let's say I click B3 on something. It is not going to pick up on this strip. Let's say this one's B3 under my virtual audio cable right here. It'll pick up on that, and then that is what I'll use. So if I unclick this, click that, it's going to be B1 or B3 or whatever I decide to pick here. So getting this set up right here is fairly easy. I do like the fact that you do have like compressor gates, different noise reducers. Like, I love that a lot. And I use the EQ to go through and do that with the 15 band. Works out great. So let me move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring up OBS. I'm going to kind of show you guys how I have this set up. As you can see, I have multiple things going on down here for audio and for my sources. Obviously, my gaming source is a little bit more because I have more going on here, but for my just chatting, it's pretty simple. Actually, let's just make a new one. I'm going to make a new one and show you guys how to do this. Video. All right, there we go. Now you can hear me. And then let's add a video capture device. Cam. There we go. That's way too big. Let's bring this down and move it over here so we can actually see what's going on. Okay. Now we have pretty much a clean slate on what we have going on here. You can kind of see the way I have my OBS set up. One of the things that you need to do right off the rip. Okay, then once you get all that set up, one of the things you got to do, you got to come down here and go to your sound settings. And once you get this downloaded and installed and get all your drivers done, you're going to notice you have a lot more outputs that you can choose from and a lot more inputs. But you're going to notice something. All my outputs are ins. Input, N1, N4, cable N16 channel, VoiceMeeter N3, cable input, VoiceMeeter input, under output. And then under input, VoiceMeeter out B2, VoiceMeeter out B1, VoiceMeeter out A2. So basically what it does, it just flips everything, So we can run inputs as outputs and outputs as inputs, which is fine. So one of the first things you're going to do is we're going to look back over here at Potato, at Old Tater, and we're going to see which one we chose for your mic and what we chose for your output. Okay. And essentially what we're going to do, as you can see here for my output, I have VoiceMeeter input because I want everything on this strip that is monitored right here by A1 to be sent to A1 and come out so I can pick it up. So on my output here, you see I have VoiceMeeter input. So if we look back at VoiceMeeter, you can see right here, I have nothing selected on A1 for any of these because I monitored this directly through my interface. And then here are my virtual inputs. You see I have A1, 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 B1, B1, B2. All right. So we need to choose what this is going to be. This is what we're monitoring. So everything from movies, music, videos, Discord, Spotify, game, everything's going to come through this. So we're going to pick that, which is going to be VoiceMeeter input. VB audio, VoiceMeeter VAIO. Then when we scroll down, we're going to see input down here. But if you look at input, all of these are outs. VoiceMeeter out, VoiceMeeter out, output. This is from my Focusrite. That's like what I was using on Windows. VoiceMeeter out, VoiceMeeter out. I picked B2 because that's what I want my input to be, because that's what we have selected here on this strip for my out on this particular stereo input, my hardware. Okay. You click that. The next thing you're going to do is we're going to go down here to more sound settings. You're going to have this little box pop up right here. We're going to go to recording. You can see I'm still picking up on my interface input, and it's still coming through here. But look at all these other options we have. The same options here. So there's my VoiceMeeter out B2, which is what I have set up in VoiceMeeter Potato, which is right here on this strip. So I'm going to click that. I want to make it the default communication device, and I want to set as default, which I have. We're going to go over here to playback. So playback's what we're going to be listening with, what it's going to be picking up on. So there's the aux input. Well, this is playback. Why are all these inputs? Because it flips it the way you route it. So there's VoiceMeeter in 1, 2, 3. Where's that input? There it is. And I made that right there my default device. Same over in recording. This is the default device. Then you're done with that. So now your system is going to use VoiceMeeter Potato as the default. Now, one thing that I do, let me move this over here out of the way. You can see I keep VoiceMeeter up on my desktop. Now, one of the things you can do, you can see I have the little admin thing here. We can right click it and hit properties. When you go to compatibility, I always run this program as administrator, always, because I've had issues where it won't be administrator and it kind of gets kerfunkled. I always run that as administrator. Here comes the fun part. How do we use this with OBS? This is where it kind of gets a little funky. And as you can see here in my just chatting screen, I have a lot going on for my audio, and I have a lot of sources going on. But what I'm going to do is I am going to make a new one, and we're going to call this video, and I am going to set up a new scene, and I'm going to get my mic set up real quick. I'm going to get my camera set up real quick, and I'm going to get my display set up real quick. There we go. There's that. Now we need my mug. Whoa, too big of a mug. Let's bring that down a little bit. Move this over right there. Okay, now we can see everything. Everything looks nice and tidy. As you see here, I only have one thing in my audio mixer, which is going to be my SM7B. As you can see, I have nothing going on here in my filters. All these are turned off. So what is the first thing that we're going to do? Okay. We need to set up audio for our system. We need to set up this strip right here, because that's what everything's going to come out of. Every game, every movie, everything. So we need to set this VoiceMeeter input up as an audio capture. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to audio output capture. I'm gonna make a new one. So we're going to call this VM input. Nice. We're going to go over here. We're going to go to VoiceMeeter input right there. Okay, there we are. Now we have VM input. So this is anything that's coming out of that virtual input right here. It's going to come through and we're going to get audio on it. So one of the things I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to play some copyright free music, and it's going to come in and we're going to listen to this real quick. Okay, we have some music happening. I have the volume very low. And that volume up just a little bit. Okay. So essentially, this right here is it. Like, it's that simple. Now, as you saw over here, I have a lot more going on because I have a lot more I'm doing on this. This is just something to show you guys how I do this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pull up VoiceMeeter again, and I'm going to bring this over so we can see. We're going to grab an audio real quick. Bring this back up. Let's use my instance. All right, we're going to bring up this right here. I'm going to use this. All right, I'm going to use that. Then I'm going to open up my Elgato Stream Deck software here. I'm going to go into chat sounds. We're going to add this right here. Now, we're going to go over here to our soundboard. I have a bunch going on here too. I'm going to go over here to my soundboard. I want to play audio. So we're just going to drag this up here. That audio that I just downloaded, I'm going to go to downloads, anime sound, wow. We're going to put this right here. What does it do? Wow. Wow. We're going to do that right there. There's the file. It's going to be a play stop, no fade. Now we see the output here. Let me put this up here. If I take this right here, we click off of it, and I play this, you can hear it through here because it's coming through the default, right? But let's say that I'm in game, and I'm like, I just shit on somebody in Call of Duty or something like that, and I want to play the WoW. You guys would be able to hear it on stream, but the person that I just manhandled would not be able to hear that. We want them to hear that. So let me bring this up. When I press this, it's going to come out right here. This is set on B1. I don't want it to come through here. I do not want it to come through here. Why? Because I want to separate the audio. This is where separating audio kind of comes in at, right? I can select where I want that to come out. So what we're going to do here is I want this to come out through VAIO3. And you see this just moved over here. This just got picked up here. All right. So let me press that again. You can see it's no longer coming through this input. It's no longer coming through this input, this VoiceMeeter input. This is now coming through the VAIO3. It's coming into this. I don't have to monitor. I can turn that off. You guys can still hear it, but I can't hear it at all. So if I go down here to my properties, the B2, it's coming out through the B2. It's coming out through this. It's coming in here through this strip here. Coming in, it's being monitored here. And it's being sent out here. Now I could turn that off and play it. I can hear it, but you guys can't hear it, right? Click B2. Forcing it with VoiceMeeter and Stream Deck to push this particular sound through this particular input, and it's being pushed out this particular bus, which is an output right here, which is set up the same as my hardware input for my SM7B. Beautiful, beautiful. So you can have like all kinds of like funny stuff that, you know, you can play on stream or whatever, or play to people that's in your lobby if you have like proximity chat or whatever going on, which is great. It's wonderful. That's kind of it. Now, one thing that you can do, I'm going to open my Spotify. We are going to go back over here. I'm going to go to copyright free music. I'm going to turn this up. Now this is super loud. This is as loud as I am. How do we fix that? How do we fix that? We're going to go over here. We're going to go to our filters. We are going to add a compressor. We're going to name it compressor. I want it to sidechain duck to my SM7B. Let me do it here. See, that's super loud. And then when I start speaking, we see that bump back down because it's sidechain ducking to my microphone. This is the same with game audio. This is the same with music. This is the same with Discord and your buddy's baby mama be yelling at her. It's the same thing. So what we do here, we can go to filters. You can see I have nothing ran on this. Nothing ran on this. So let's go over here and hit these filters because that's where you're going to set it up to. 6:1, negative 40 decibels, 6 milliseconds of attack, 60 milliseconds of release. I do no gain staging within OBS. I do no gain staging within OBS. None at all whatsoever. None. And I have this sidechain ducked to the SM7B. So let's go back over here. All right, there is our VM. Let's go to VM. Let's go to filters. Let's do that. I think what did I have that at? 2:1, negative 40. Those are fine. Close. So now if I play this, we see that super loud. And then when I talk, it goes down. When I'm not talking, it goes super loud again. We can bump it out. And I think it sounds a little smoother. Now you can tweak this. You can mess with it a little bit. How long you want that, how fast you want it to hit, how long you want that to decay. And you can kind of set that up the way that you want. And it makes it really nice. We can play whatever. You see how that's peaking up really high, and then when I talk, it comes down, and it kind of stays down here to the negative 20, bumping up to about negative 10 every now and again. That's how you do that. Super simple. Super simple. If you remember, we have this set through the input. So anything that comes through here is going to be affected. Now, another thing that I do have to say, when I am running soundboard audio through VoiceMeeter, this is something that you have to take into consideration. When I'm throwing this right here through VoiceMeeter, coming in through the VAIO3, and it's coming out of my B2, which is the same as this, it gets hit with the same compressor, gate, and denoiser, same EQ that I have set up for my voice. 100%. Can you get around that? Yes, you can. And it's all in the way that you route it. I have it routed like that because the little bit of compressor, the little bit of gate that I have, and the little bit of denoiser that I have doesn't affect that audio a whole lot. Now, that's something that it's kind of hard to do. You cannot side duck within your own strip on your mic, which is great because they give you the option that I could like take this and make it super quiet, and then it's going to be super quiet when I talk. See how it's down here, but my voice is coming up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that you can do there. And that makes it really easy. That makes it really nice. But yeah, like essentially this is how I kind of have it set up. I was using VoiceMeeter Banana, and like one day after a Windows update, it just absolutely shit the bed on me for whatever reason. Everything was gone. It would not reinitialize. So when I got Potato, I had to reset like all that gain staging I did. The way that I have it set up here, all my gates, comps, the way I have everything routed, all of it was absolutely gone. And I was absolutely devastated. But one of the things you can do here, and I do now all the time, go to menu, we're going to go to save settings. Here up under my desktop, here is my VoiceMeeter Potato Master. That's what I named it, Potato Master. I'm going to save it. Do I want to replace? Absolutely. So if something happens and the drivers for this ever get messed up, I can just upload that configuration file and it sets up everything for me. There is so much more that you can do with this. There is so much more that you can do with VoiceMeeter and using it with your Windows. I did use a plugin to be able to use this. I do use a 60% keyboard, so it's wired. It's old school, it's analog, baby. I did have to go in and set up a short key hook that I use for my volume. I can hook keys for A1, which is everything that I listen to. And I set that to Q and I set that to W. So I can set that wherever I need to. Function Q and W because I use a 60% keyboard. And then like that's kind of it. That's essentially what it is. You know? And like I didn't try to fluff this up or make it too insanely hard to figure out. I mean, there's a bunch you can do, equalizers, all kinds of stuff. The way that I have this set up, and you can do this for every input channel. Absolutely every input channel that you want. You can tweak this to the nines. You can tweak it to the nines. Make it sound however you want. Like it took me a while to set this up. But like once you get it, man, it is solid. And always remember to go save your settings. Save your settings. You can reset if you're having problems and then upload your settings again. And it's really easy to find. And I do something real silly. I put it right here on my desktop. I put it right there. If I need to access it again, like if something happens and I'm like, oh, I need to load my settings, boom, right there on my desktop. Just snag that thing right there. And she ready to rock. You can see like all my inputs and my values, my equalizer, like all that stuff is saved and ready to go. So I have it exactly the way that I want. So if anything happens, I can just upload that again and make it super simple. And you can do this with like almost any computer. You can use it on Windows. You can use it on laptops. You can use it on desktops. You can use it on space tops if those exist, if those are a thing. They might be a thing. But yeah, like we just set this up really easy. Like I don't want to overcomplicate things. You know, I use the KISS method for a lot of things, like keep it simple, stupid. There's a lot more that I've done, but this is just the essentials, man. Like to set you up, get you sounding good. I might do a whole video on how I EQ'd. That is going to be a little bit more in depth. That is a lot of trial and error. And I mean, I turned off all of my filters in OBS and I went raw, and I was recording video on video on video, going back and listening, tweaking, moving here, going there, like listening for sounds when I was doing my denoiser and my gate. Like, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. So I might do a video on that, but I just wanted something really simple to show you guys so we could like get you set up and get you going. I want you to be able to understand what you're doing. And all this it looks complex, man. I'll tell you, dog, like all of this looks complex, but when you break it down into like small bite-sized things, it's super simple to understand. Essentially, that's how you get her done, son. So this is how you set up VoiceMeeter Potato. I hope that this was like beyond helpful for you guys, because I tell you what, like I went in and watched a ton of videos of other people doing this, and like it made absolutely no sense, using big words. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love good terminology, but it was so confusing. They were skipping stuff, and I'm like, well, how do you do that? How do I go about doing this? And it was just, so I'm hoping that this is something simple that you guys can just go in, smack together, and get it rocking and rolling, and then you can do your own tweaks as you see fit as you start your VoiceMeeter Potato journey.